Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're digging into the Amazon empire, from its incredibly ambitious vision to the ruthless tactics that fueled its growth and the controversial reality of the world it's building.
You know, Jeff Bezos has always been a big thinker. We're talking planetary scale. Even back in high school, as valedictorian, he was already laying out his vision for humanity's future in space, thinking about manufactured worlds for millions of people.
But while he's looking to the stars, right, there's this growing concern about the vast and powerful empire he's already built right here on Earth. An empire that has, let's be honest, changed almost everything about how we live.
So how in the world did an online bookstore from Seattle become this global force that's just everywhere? Well, the answer really lies in its original blueprint.
Okay, so picture this. It's the early 1990s. Bezos isn't in Silicon Valley. He's on Wall Street. And he stumbles on this one statistic that just blows his mind. Internet usage was growing at 2,300% a year. He knew, right then and there, he had to get in on that.
So he's like, okay, I'm going to build an online store. But why books? It wasn't because he was some huge book lover. Nope. This was a totally cold, calculated decision. See, the books category just has more individual items than any other, which made it the perfect product to show off a store with basically limitless digital shelves.
And right from the very beginning, Bezos had this blueprint for total domination. It was all built on three core ideas that would guide the company for decades: obsess over the customer, play the long game, and understand that data is everything.
And when they said customer obsession, they meant something a little different. They basically treated the website like a giant science lab. They tracked every single click, every pause, every item you added to a cart, and they used that mountain of data to predict what you were going to buy next.
And that whole playing the long game thing, that was his genius pitch to Wall Street. He convinced investors to accept years, maybe even decades, of losses. The goal wasn't to make money right away. It was to gain market share by undercutting everybody else until they were just put out of business.
Now, this relentless push for growth gave us, the customers, incredible convenience. But that convenience, well, it came at a pretty high cost. It created this huge gap between the experience of shoppers and the experience of anyone who stood in Amazon's way or worked inside its walls.
Early on, the company had this internal strategy that some people called the Gazelle Project. The idea was to pressure suppliers for better terms, and you start with the small, independent publishers, the sickly gazelles, right? They were just easier to take down before you moved on to the bigger players.
And this really gets to the heart of the Amazon model. For customers, it's a world of one-click ease. It's amazing. But for many of the warehouse workers, it's a totally different story. We're talking punishing quotas, constant digital surveillance, and grueling conditions where, as one worker put it, they felt less like a human and more like part of the data stream.
So, with its grip on retail totally secured, Amazon started to move into a whole new phase. It wasn't just about our shopping carts anymore. It was about moving into the actual infrastructure of our daily lives. The secret engine that powered all of this was Amazon Web Services, or AWS. It was originally built just to run Amazon's own retail site, but then Bezos realized, hey, we can rent this incredible computing power out. And wow, it's now this hugely profitable business that powers a massive chunk of the entire internet.
And all that cash pouring in from AWS funded the company's next big push, getting directly into our homes. Devices like Alexa, Ring, and the Rekognition facial recognition software created new levels of convenience, sure, but they also became these incredibly powerful tools for collecting just unprecedented amounts of personal data.
The privacy side of this is so intense that even a former top executive who helped build AWS admitted that he turns off his own Alexa devices whenever he wants to have a truly private conversation. Just let that sink in for a second.
So this relentless expansion of power, it has not gone unnoticed. After years of pretty much unchecked growth, Amazon is now facing a whole new era of intense scrutiny from the public and from governments all around the world.
I mean, the company's immense power was just put on full display during its search for a second headquarters, HQ2. It created this bidding war where cities were offering billions of dollars in tax breaks, sparking this massive public backlash against what a lot of people saw as just a grotesque display of corporate power.
And today, that backlash has really turned into action. Regulators in both the United States and Europe are actively investigating the company for being anti-competitive. You've got politicians from the left and the right now asking a fundamental question. Has Amazon just gotten too big and too powerful?
And these concerns are even shared by the people who were there at the very beginning. Shel Kaphan, Amazon's first ever employee, now says he's scared by what the company has become, adding that breaking it up might actually make sense.
So here's the crucial point. The rise of Amazon is an incredible story of innovation, long-term vision, and customer obsession. But it also forces all of us to confront a fundamental question about power in the 21st century. Are we okay with one company building the infrastructure for our future, and in the process, basically winning the game of capitalism?